I've just decided to create this video for your final changes to your Photoshop file because I've had a few students that have questioned exactly how to do these steps. So I'll go through these step by step how to do them. So the first thing is obviously you need to finish and finalize your cover. So at some point you would have looked at and had your template and added in whatever it was on your design that you wanted, whether it was the white template or whether it was the clear transparent one. That's fine. So what you would have done is you would have created then added your design or whatever it is, and you would have had lots of layers then based on the crop guide as well as the layer for the masthead, which is this bit here, and that they need to stay in. Okay, so this is what once you've finished and you've finished all your little touches and those kinds of things and you're ready to go, the first thing that you need to do is check your cover file is 300 dpi. So how do you do that? Well, you just go to image, go to image size, and what you can see here is the resolution is 300, right? 300 pixels per inch. That's what 300 dpi means. So this needs to be that. Now, if you haven't got that, then it's going to be a little bit of an issue because the size of the picture and the pixelation and all those kinds of things changes based on that. So if you've got a very low resolution, it's going to be very hard to go back to a high resolution. So if you get that issue, then you'll need to see me about that. The other thing that you needed to do was to check the correct size. So I created this template so that it was the correct size. What you'll notice here is that the dimensions are in pixels. So I've written it in the millimeters, which is based on what the competition wanted you to do. So 246 and 333 approximately there that's with the 10 centimeter bleed there as well. So all you need to do to change that to millimeters so you can see is this, right? And so that's pretty much on it, 332.99, that's 333, and 246, which is pretty much what we had there, right? So you just want to check that's the right size as well. This stuff should be pretty much done because I gave you the template. So if you've just been using the template and haven't changed any of these settings, you should be okay with that. Okay, so that's how you check the image size. The second thing is to delete the crop layer. Now, what does this mean? I've talked about this in class several times. This line here is basically where they will cut. So they'll cut this little bit of a side off. That said, they want the picture to go all the way to the edge because they don't want the picture to go to here and a little bit of white be there, and so when they cut it off, they've got a little bit of white around the edge. So they need you to make sure your pictures are all the way to the edge, but you should know that if there's anything that's important, that it's going to be cut off at that particular point, right? So the final product will be approximately what's inside the green lines. But those are just there for your guidance, and so you need to take those out before we submit. So to do that, all you have to do is go to the crop guide layer over here and delete layer. Okay. Oh, sorry, I said duplicate. It should be delete. Delete layer. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So then it's without that. We're going to put this back in to a different template that's going to show where they need to crop it. So that will be fine. But this is what you want. Okay. Then you want to save your file to a different name. This is very important because when we go to CYMK colors, the next step, it will often flatten that to make sure the colors are the right colors and they don't change too much. So I'm going to file, save as, save it to the spot that I need to. Let's say example camel 3. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to change that to what's called CMYK print color. Now, normally, often pictures and those kinds of things when they're online are in RGB format. When you need to give them to a printer, someone who's printing something, you need to put them in CYMK. It's to do with either the addition of colors or the subtraction of colors when they're actually producing colors. So they may be slightly different, but the way that I'm going to show you to convert it is to minimize any differences in the colors so it's not that noticeable. So what you need to do to convert to CMYK, I've actually done that with this one, you can see that here already. But if I had, say for example, a different picture like this, and you can see this one's in RGB, all I need to do to change that is to convert to profile. Now this will collapse all your layers together, so you won't be able to move your layers anymore. So it's important you get everything right before that, and you've resaved it so you've got a file that has the layers. But you can see here that I can choose to work in CMYK, so I can press OK, and that will change that to CMYK. If you've already got CMYK up here, then you know you're already working in that color scheme already. Okay, so that just changed from, so if I just show you, undo, so RGB, go to convert to profile, CMYK, choose that if you haven't got it already, and OK. Now there might be some slight changes in colors, but hopefully the way that I did that there will minimize it because it's collapsed it. Now, what you need to do next from there is to save that as a JPEG. So if I go back to my example camel, this one here, file, save as, save on my computer again. I'm going to just save that in there, and I'm going to save that as a JPEG. Pretty simple. Now it'll ask you to do it. You want the maximum quality there. Okay. And there you go. I'm just going to double check again as well, my image size, checking it's 300 dpi. Yep, we're all fine there. Millimeters. Yep, that's all okay. All right. Now, that's now in a JPEG format in my saved file. So you want to open that one. My example camel 3, because it'll still be the Photoshop one, the other one. So this is now my JPEG that I've created. What the competition has asked for is that we add crop marks, not the crop guidelines, but crop marks. So what I've done for you is I've actually created another PSD file, another Photoshop file, final hand up crop marks. This is a new template that all you need to do here, you'll see I've got like a guide here a little bit. All you need to do here is open this, grab your JPEG, you Command, Command A, Command C, that's copying it, and then I go to that final hand up and I Control V. That's essentially just copying that in. Now, because the way that I've done it, it should pretty much land in the right spot. If not, and it doesn't cover that white there properly or something for some instance, one, it may be the wrong size, but you should have already checked that already. Secondly, oh, I don't know where that's gone. Can't see. I need to get rid of that so I can get to my, there we go. So then what I can do is I can actually use the move tool and make sure I'm on the right layer here. The picture layer, that's the JPEG layer that I've just copied in. And what I can do is I can line that up there with, and you see, what you can see is that it has some pink lines that show you when you're exactly lined up. And drop that in there, and what that's going to do is that gives these little crop lines that I've created here so that that's where they will cut, and so they know where to cut. So then the final thing that you need to do is just save that as a JPEG again, leaving those crop marks there. Okay, so File, Save As, save on my computer, and I'll say whatever I want my thing to be. So don't leave it as final hand up. Say Claire Sherman campaign Emmy cover entry final. Okay, and I want that in a JPEG. So put that into my folder that I need to and save. Okay, maximum, yep, great. Then what I should have is in my folder that I save that to, my final cover. Okay,